Hey there! Eric sent me a couple of pens, and one of the pens that's I think quite unique is this one. A1 Trio from Japan. This is of course the original old cardboard box. Very interesting. It even comes with the original manual, which is really nice for a vintage pen. A self-filling fountain pen. Now, what is unique about this thing? The unique thing about this pen is the nib, because as a pen it looks like a pretty standard pen. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen, tell what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then do a writing sample, which is going to be very fascinating. Okay, let's start at the finial. Right on top of the cap, you see this little black thing, while the rest of the pen is green. You see that green. I'll come back to the filling system in a sec. Here we have a clip. The clip, if you don't like it, is removable, which is always fun, and some people really like clipless pens. Okay, at the end of the barrel, there is this black thing again, and as I said, the whole rest, the whole other part of the pen is green. Now, you may wonder what this thing is. Guys who collect vintage pens will immediately recognize this, but for some of you, this may be a little less familiar. And to be honest, it's my first. This is called a Crescent Filler. You may have seen me review lever fillers. We have a little lever that you open up and you squeeze, for example, on the Waterman 52. I did a video on that. This is a somewhat similar system to the extent that what happens here is that you have a sac in the pen, and this little crescent you can use to push onto, and then the sac inside will compress. And when you let go of that crescent, the sac expands again and it will draw up ink. Now it works as follows. I can't really show you because there is ink in there, but you have a little protector, that black thing, which you see is open there. So right now I cannot compress the crescent, but when I rotate this, it aligns with the opening, and then I can compress it. I'll do it very gently so as not to squeeze out too much ink there. Okay, now what is really unique about this pen, because there are many crescent fillers, that is not so spectacular. Now the spectacular thing lies in the nib, and I'm going to unscrew the pen. I'm going to take that off camera, and then I'm going to make this focus. What we have here is a fountain pen with a glass nib that is turned glass, and those things are very interesting. You may have one of those B.R.E glass dip pens. Well, this is a similar concept, except this is integrated into a fountain pen so that you have a continuous stream of ink. You don't have to dip it in ink. Okay, what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, clearly it's a unique item because it has that glass nib, which is not so common on fountain pens. As I would almost say a rarity, something that is a bit of a curious thing that you don't see that much, it's very fascinating. The Crescent Filler is nice, but as I said, you can get more pens with Crescent Fillers. I found the glass nib to be very pleasant to use. Sip of tea. It's pleasant to use because it is very smooth, much smoother than I expected. I have used two of those B.R.E dip nibs, and both of them gave quite some feedback. This one really is smooth. It's really pleasant to use. And actually what's very kind is that Eric was kind enough to send me two replacement nibs, of those glass nibs, which I'll be very careful with, because it is glass and this stuff will break. It will chip. If you put it in your ink bottle too hard, it's going to chip. So there you have it. Things I don't like about it. Well, obviously you don't take this to the office and throw it around. You have to be careful because it is glass. You have to be careful with every fountain pen. With these pens you have to be extra careful. So that's something you really have to bear in mind. Apart from that, very interesting. Clearly no line variation because it's glass. There are no tines that will open up. It's glass. So bearing all of that in mind, I think you get a pretty unique pen with something like this. Okay, let's take a couple of measurements before I show you how it writes. As to length, we have 122 millimeters capped. Uncapped, now of course here too I have to be very careful. 116 millimeters. Section diameter at the narrowest point. It's a I didn't really show you the section very well, but it's a sort of hourglass shape, as you can see. At the narrowest point about 8 millimeters, at the widest point about 9 millimeters, so a fairly thin section. Careful to cut this properly. Weight of the pen is, I'm now using the digital scale that was also provided by Eric. He really sent me a beautiful care package. Inked up, the pen is 10 grams. It's a light pen. So there you have it. Enough talk. Eric, thanks so much for sending me these extremely cool objects. I really do enjoy them. So thanks a lot. Guys, we need to see how this pen writes. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, here we go with that very fascinating Trio A1 pen. As you can see, it has a glass nib, and there was a little bit of ink leakage, it seems. There we go. That's alright. And the ink, I am almost certain I put in Mont Blanc Royal Blue. Okay, let's do a bit of writing. I have to say it's a unique feeling to write with this nib. You feel that you're writing, but at the same time it's a very smooth experience. And it is glass, but as I said in the first part of this video, my experience with Gerbin glass dip pens is that they give quite some feedback, but this is something else. Very, very fascinating. Let's do a bit of fast writing. So in principle, you see no skipping whatsoever. Very, very cool. Now what you may see here, let me zoom in a bit. It's quite dark, so let me use my loupe, which has a light on there. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Yeah, you see these grooves on the nib. Well, that is just something that is used to have ink sort of cascade down. So it will cascade down through those grooves, making for a very nice, consistent ink flow. As to wetness, well, really, this thing is pretty much a gusher. A lot of ink comes out, so that's very, very nice. Now, clearly, I'm not going to do a line variation demonstration because it's glass. It's not going to open up, and I don't want to apply too much pressure on it because obviously it's glass and it's not going to do anything. It's just going to push down harder into the paper and break the nib. So that's it. Nor can I do a reverse writing sample because this nib is the same on all sides. And as you can see, as I rotate it while I hold this, it just keeps flowing. Very, very cool. That's all I can say about this nib. A unique feeling. If you have a chance to pick up one of these pens, don't pass it up. It's a lot of fun to play with. So really, really nice. I really love that. Eric, thanks a lot for sending me this pen. It is a unique object and I like it a lot. I'm going to be having a lot of fun with this. I hope this review was interesting for you. Maybe you want to check out one of these pens, and that's all there's to it. So, bye!